Oh, you didn't know?
Ocho Cinco, was he a quarterback?
Your ass better call somebody.
He's gone for the touchdown. Caldwell Pope. How about that one, baby?
It's worse than a Timothy.
How did he win this game?
I hope this is bleach.
Take the hoop out of the playbook, please.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the College Football Weekly Matchup, Week 12. We had a good week of college football. Oklahoma going down this week in a tough game. And then you also had some other games happen during the week. Oregon almost losing that late game. I ended up watching that. That game was tied for a little while. But Josh, how was your week of college football, and how was your week overall?
Well, I mean, it was pretty not stressful as far as my team winning. Alabama doing what they did to New Mexico State, but it did come at a cost. We lost another running back for a while, and now we have a linebacker playing the third running back on our team. So some running backs transferred out. I bet they wish they didn't, because they'd be in the rotation now. But yeah, we got some linebacker that played. His name's DeMoy Kennedy. Played some running back in high school, and he looked all right. He's a bruiser. He's the third guy. Trey Sanders will get a chance to prove himself again. But the game of the day was definitely Auburn and Mississippi State.
Yeah,
and
Auburn
not being able to make any adjustments. And I heard him talking on the radio today, over there in the Mountain West, where Auburn's coach come from, Boise State, you can make adjustments at halftime. In the SEC, you got to make them during the game. And he wasn't able to adjust, and Mike Leach's team came and scored 40 unanswered points on Auburn's defense in Auburn. And Bo Nix broke his ankle and is out for the remainder of the season.
Gotcha. Who's their backup? Anyway.
TJ Finley from LSU, a guy transferred from LSU.
Gotcha.
Wait, is he related to the ex-NC State quarterback, Carter Finley? Or no, that's the name of the stadium. I don't know.
All right, Preston. Dumb moment. How was your week of college football and your week overall?
Well, my week overall was pretty good. I mean, I didn't really watch too much of the football this, because I watched the games, but there really wasn't much that I watched that I was just overwhelmed. There was a handful of games that he was already talking about. Like the Michigan game was pretty good. But I was at work during the Georgia game, and I was really kind of hoping to see if Tennessee was going to be able to keep that game close at home. They kept it. I mean, I think they scored first, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, they were up 10-7.
Yeah, they played competitively for the first, I think 12 minutes of the game. And then after that, the dominance of Georgia, who just is looking like they're the best team in college football. And I hate to say that, it really hurts. But, I mean, it's true. Georgia's playing great football right now, and I've watched most of their games. And so they keep playing like this. I just don't see how they don't luck and kind of back their way into a national championship.
Gotcha. And Preston had his first good week this week. He actually beat Josh. He went 6-2.
Can you say that again for me, please?
6-2 in the picks. That is his best week overall. He asked me today. Preston goes, he comes up to me today. He's like, Is that the best record somebody's had? I said no. I think Josh just went 6-2 like 3 times already. So yeah, he was like so excited.
7-1 one week.
Yeah, I think he went 7-1. So yeah, but sometimes we have different amount of games. Josh, you went 4-4. 500. Preston usually goes under 500, so don't listen to him.
I'm close to being 500 now.
Bryson went 4-4. Have no idea where he is. I think he's asleep right now. Who knows? Bryson, if you're watching this, how you doing? But he's probably napping, I'm guessing. I don't know. I haven't heard from him. I heard from him earlier. He asked me to go get cookout, but haven't heard from him since this afternoon. But yeah, just some overall more of a recap here. You had Oklahoma falling to Baylor 27-14, and Samford putting up 52 on Florida. We're up by the half. I wanted to get Bryson's reaction on that.
It's actually Samford.
I always say it wrong. Samford. I know who it is. But
yeah,
I always
they're a school over in Alabama somewhere, and they're not very good. But boy, were they running through Florida! They were running through
shit through the tin. What did you say?
Can.
Shit through a tin can. Could not stop them.
Could not stop them, man. That was ridiculous. And then also Texas losing to Kansas at home. That was really, really embarrassing for Steve Sarkisian in Texas. And they're going to be coming over to the SEC in a couple of years. They better figure that out before they get over here and become the Vanderbilt of the SEC West.
Yeah. Preston, you got any thoughts on the floor or any other games, or Baylor beating up Oklahoma? I know you were kind of high on Oklahoma, hoping they'd make a little run.
I definitely was high on Oklahoma. I didn't think for any reasons that Oklahoma was going to be overly competitive in the playoffs. They proved that year after year after year that they're good enough to get there, not good enough to get it done. I was afraid something like this would happen, but I honestly didn't think it would happen with the quarterback that they put in to replace Rattler. I thought Rattler was the quarterback who was more prone to throw, untimely interceptions and just make overall mistakes. And unfortunately, that wasn't the case that happened Saturday. They just came out flat. They had nothing for Baylor. Baylor is actually still sitting behind Oklahoma and Oklahoma State, which both of them have to play in the regular season finale for Oklahoma and Oklahoma State. And that game could be huge, because if Oklahoma beats Oklahoma State has the win over Baylor, which means you would get a 2-week back-to-back matchup of Oklahoma State for the Big 12. If Oklahoma loses another game, there's a possibility they missed the Big 12 championship game. But, with Baylor having the tiebreaker over Oklahoma, the winner of that Oklahoma State game is huge.
What is Baylor's record? Has they lost one game or two? Or?
They've lost two.
They're 8-2. But
Oklahoma State.
Baylor, there was a big debacle at the end of that game where Baylor called a timeout with 1 second left. The fans didn't know it, and they rushed the field. They had to get off the field. Oklahoma had to call players back out of the locker room. Lincoln Riley didn't take kind to it. They called timeout, kicked a field goal. And the reason that they kicked a field goal is because that tiebreaker comes down to point differential. And that's the only conference that there is that does that.
Yeah, Oklahoma's coach was upset.
I saw the things. I didn't see the aftermath of the whole situation, but I just don't like the Big 12 format of how they make their rankings and standings. I just don't like it. I don't like that there's not a conf or division inside their conference. It's a free for all, and you could play two teams back to back. I mean, I understand it, and in some areas I like it, but then again, I just like the division inside the conference setup that all the other ones have.
Well,
I think
what was funny about Lincoln Riley getting all upset is how many times has Oklahoma beat Kansas and Baylor and Big 12 Patsy schools 60-something to nothing, and left the starters in all the way through the end trying to get Kyler Murray a Heisman. And come on, dude. You ran up the score many, many, many times.
I'm glad you brought up Kansas because Texas, man, how did you lose to them again?
Kansas hadn't won a conference game in 2 football seasons.
Was the last time they won a conference game when they beat Texas?
I'm pretty sure that's what it was.
Fact check me, because they've beat them twice now in the last couple of years, and it's outlandish. It's something whoa, this should not happen. Even though Texas is not back, they should not lose.
Then Texas's basketball school got beat too. Their basketball program got beat.
UCLA. No, they played Gonzaga, didn't they? Didn't they get blown out by Gonzaga? I mean, rightfully so. Gonzaga is still number 1, so.
UCLA, though, is looking really good. They're actually, one of my dark horse. No, I guess you can't call them a dark horse.
I don't get into much college basketball to March Madness, but I do enjoy watching every now and then. But, you had some other games going on. Cincinnati getting another big win over South Florida.
Shut up.
Everybody.
1-8 South Florida.
Yeah, round of applause. Still gave up 28. Preston over here still thinks he's ready for the Georgia. I'm ready. I'm ready for Georgia to play Cincinnati. I hope they put Georgia in Cincinnati.
There's no such thing as an easy game in the playoffs. Obviously, you have games that you get lopsided, but there's no such thing as an easy game.
He called that ball. Oh, sorry. I'm watching Monday Night Football. I thought he caught that ball.
And even though I don't think, and I've harped on this for weeks now, even though I obviously know, and I don't think that any way the rosters match up to each other. I think Georgia obviously has the best athletes arguably in the nation right now. Okay, definitely more than Cincinnati. I think the way Cincinnati plays is what's giving people, a hard time. They played that quick pace offense. They have a mobile quarterback. They have physical receivers, and they do play some pretty decent defense. And now we've seen some teams get to the playoffs with bad defenses, Oklahoma multiple times, and given us some good playoff games. And then we've seen some teams with some lockdown defenses that have just, could not do anything on the offensive side, and they still get blown out, i.e. Clemson versus Alabama in the Sugar Bowl when Alabama won 24-6. I mean, I think it's going to come down to who's playing better on the day. Obviously, that's a very bold statement because whoever's playing better is going to win. But I think, if they get a chance, I don't know, man. I want to see it. I think they're deserved at this point. There's a lot of teams that are losing, so that's just.
Well, Josh, what's your, before we get into other stuff, what's your thoughts? What's your thoughts now? Do you think they're going to get in with all the teams losing?
I feel like that the door is opening up for Cincinnati to get in. If Alabama wins out and Georgia beats Alabama, then Alabama's eliminated. I think that we're going to I would like to add a game to our games this week because I think Utah may pull the upset against Oregon, and if they do, that'll cancel out the Pac-12 champion right there.
Mm-hmm.
That'll be, I don't know if they'll put a 2-loss Pac-12 champion in over, Cincinnati if they're undefeated. And then the Big 12 just really hurt their chances with Oklahoma going down. But you can't ignore Oklahoma State, who has one of the top 5 total defense in the country right now.
That was one team I was going to say if they did put them in, I could see Oklahoma State getting in.
But there's a couple good teams out there, and I don't think we've talked about it in a while. Notre Dame, we were talking about it in class today. Notre Dame's lingering around right now.
Yeah, but they ain't good.
Well, I'm not saying they're good.
Here we go. What's going to happen if Notre Dame keeps winning and their strength of schedule and their impressive wins outweigh that loss against Cincinnati and they dump Cincinnati into the top 4?
Please put Notre Dame in there so Georgia can beat the dog shit out of them.
Because I'm telling you, because of the way that this committee is, and wanting money. Notre Dame's way bigger market than Cincinnati, and and Cincinnati still has a couple of hard games, man. They still got SMU, and they're probably going to have to play Houston.
That's what I said. I said it's still not guaranteed they're going to go undefeated. I mean, if they lose a game, they're done.
They've been starting out these games, sluggish and really underperforming.
I'm sorry. I know the record matters. And I understand that, Preston. But dude. 45 to 28 against a 1-8 team. I mean,
and then you got Texas San Antonio too, who's undefeated.
Yeah. Okay, obviously, when I say winning matters, obviously you have to play, better teams than what San Antonio is playing. Now, obviously, Cincinnati's not playing the daunting SEC West or SEC schedule in general, obviously, duh. But when I made the comment that winning matters, UTSA does not fall in that category because of who they are.
Yeah, but
there is no. That's
I understand. I understand that, but I'm saying they're still playing like 1-8 teams.
Cincinnati is there, even though they're not in a Power 5. I think the committee is looking at. But
Josh, you know what blows my mind? This dude thinks if they get in, they have a chance.
I mean,
that blows my mind.
Play the game to win. I mean,
they have a chance. I mean, don't get me wrong. Anybody's got a puncher's chance. But
they might.
He acts like they're going to win. He acts like they're going to beat Georgia.
They might get in. I don't know, man. You got the way Ohio State's starting to play right now is more impressive to me than Oregon, and it wouldn't surprise me if Ohio State was jumped Oregon within these next couple of weeks, even if Oregon.
I wouldn't be surprised by it either. But I'm glad that you brought up Ohio State because I'm still looking at the Big Ten. The Big Ten East is coming down to it in the next couple of weeks because Michigan State still has to play Ohio State. Now Michigan State has the tiebreaker over Michigan, who as well has to play Ohio State. So the Big Ten's not even close to being decided yet. The East can still be decided in these next couple of weeks.
When is that game? When is the
Ohio State versus Michigan State's in 2 weeks?
Or Michigan.
And then that's in 3 weeks.
Okay.
So if for some reason, I'm trying to think about it because Michigan only has 1 loss and they're sitting in 6th place right now. If they win out and they beat Ohio State, they're in 100%. I mean, they also have to win the Big Ten. Okay, in that theory, they win the Big Ten. Whoever wins the Big Ten's in. I say that.
Okay. Do we think that do we think Notre Dame could beat Mississippi State?
I would say they should beat them straight up. Not giving straight up.
Not giving.
I would think.
Okay. Well, I'd only bring that up because Memphis beat Mississippi State, and Texas San Antonio went to Memphis and beat Memphis. So that would be Texas San Antonio's signature win is against Memphis. You know, they also beat a Louisiana Tech school that's not too bad. They beat Illinois, so they went and played the Big Ten school and beat them. You know, that was at Illinois. So, you know, I know that Cincinnati beat Notre Dame at Notre Dame. That's their signature win, and they also played Illinois and beat them too. Or was it Indiana? I can't remember which one it was, but it was some Big Ten school that don't do nothing. But I mean, San Antonio's got to play UAB this weekend, and UAB is a pretty good school. They're 7-3.
Pretty good.
And they're 7-3, so we'll see what Texas San Antonio can do. I just wish Cincinnati and Texas San Antonio could play.
I don't think UAB wants you supporting them. Last time you said how good of the school they were. It didn't turn out too good for them. So I don't think they want your support over there. I got you.
But I just wish San Antonio and Cincinnati could play each other.
Yeah.
For the right to get into the playoffs.
That would be good.
If they're both undefeated,
yeah,
the right to get in. But you know, I mean, I don't know if Auburn is going to stand a chance against Alabama now with Bo Nix going out. But I mean, still that game and Auburn's coming up to South Carolina to play Saturday night.
I mean, we got. I mean, Alabama needs to. They hadn't been looking great, so.
No, they haven't been looking great. So, you know, but so, I mean, if Auburn were to upset Alabama, because I don't think Alabama's going to get upset against Arkansas. I know Arkansas is playing real good right now. I mean, anything could happen. But if Auburn were to upset Alabama, because if Alabama beats Arkansas Saturday, then Alabama wins the West. So if Auburn upset them and Alabama had 2 losses and somehow pulled it out against Georgia, how are you going to keep a 2-loss SEC champion out?
Very easy. You have a 1-loss Big Ten. You have a 1-loss Big 12.
I mean, I personally think if it's that, if that happened, I would still say not biased. Georgia's dominant. I'd say Georgia still gets in, but I do say you would have to put Alabama in personally.
That's tough because I mean, if they do that, I mean, I don't know.
I mean,
that would be a riot.
Yeah,
that would be a massive riot.
That would be where Cincinnati would be left out, of course. I would think, but
I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to it because obviously you get change after things like that, so you have a different format or a different way you're looking at it.
Yeah, it's still a lot of ball.
I mean, still the pressure's building on the playoff people to expand the playoffs.
Yeah. Exactly.
But I remember, what was it? It was only like a month and a half ago, 2 months ago, that the Big 12 commissioner, it was West Virginia's athletic director said that he was going to always vote against the playoff expansion because the way that it was set up in that format and the way that Oklahoma and Texas leaving the Big 12 left the Big 12 in shambles and that was before the addition of adding those 4 different schools to make it a little bit stronger. But of course, those 4 schools don't make the strength of schedule, that Oklahoma and Texas have themselves. Well, that they were going to vote against it because they had no chance of making the playoffs off of their schedule alone, and that until something was fixed, or there was like distinct ways, and there was a way to get into the playoff for sure.
If he sits on the committee, they change the committee people all the time, so. And they said they'll revisit it again. They'll revisit it again after this year's playoff.
Gotcha.
I mean, I think eventually, within 10 years, we're going to see more like an AFC and NFC.
Yeah, I think so too. You probably get some bigger conferences, but what I was talking about in that situation was that the committee wants to have the support of the different conferences in college football. They want to have their support before they vote on something of that nature, before they change it. So that was what he was talking about. Obviously, if they went against that one person, they could still get it done, but they wanted to have the full conference's support before they would have ever brought something like that to notion. And at this point, they said, unless it was 100%, everybody was in agreement, they weren't going to vote on an expansion. But again, money talks, and I just can't see a way that they don't keep the teams at 4. I think eventually it has to get bigger. It just has to.
Yeah. All right. Well, yeah, Niners looking good over there. All right. Well, is there any other games you guys want to talk about before we get into our player of the week? I know we spent a little bit of time on.
Yeah, I want you to add this game to the list, if you will.
We'll do that. We'll do that when we get to the. We'll just do that when we get to the bottom. Yeah, Josh, you wanted me to go to you first, so we'll start off with you. Player of the week.
We're going to go with Will Rogers, who was shut down for a quarter and a half against Auburn. In fact, it was like the last 2 minutes against Auburn that he scored a touchdown. He went 44-55 for 415 yards and 6 touchdowns.
Wow, that's just
in two quarters and 5 minutes. Like, that's crazy. And they could not stop him. Auburn was playing that zone defense. Mike Leach made adjustments. They didn't make no adjustments to fix it, and they picked up the blitz package that Auburn was bringing and gave Will Rogers plenty of time in the pocket, and he picked apart that zone defense.
Yeah, well, that's
6 scores in an SEC game, top 15 matchup.
That one's going to be tough to beat. That one's going to be tough to beat. But I know Preston's got a good player of the week over here too. Who you got, Preston?
I'm going with none other than C.J. Stroud, Ohio State's quarterback. They've had to get this demon off their back of the Boilermakers beating them when they were a top 3 team. The Boilermakers have done it a couple times now where they've slayed the dragon. And I said last week that Ohio State needed to come out big, make a statement here, and not play slow, because if they did, Purdue was going to give them, a run for their money. And realistically, Purdue did really well. They scored 31 points. Now, when you look at the actual score, at no point in this game was it even close. It was 21-7 at the end of the first, and then it was 45-17 at halftime. So the final score being 59-31. Obviously, it wasn't a close, but Purdue still put up 31 points versus Ohio State, and they're playing amazing. But C.J. Stroud went 31 of 38 for 361 yards and 5 passing touchdowns. The man got it done through the air. He made good decisions. And even though Purdue isn't this, highly, ranked team, they were 19th at the time. I just don't think they'll be in the rankings they might be 25th or something like that. But nonetheless, I think that, they did a really good job. They took care of business like they were supposed to do. They're setting themselves up for success. They've got a tough next 3 weeks. And so, yeah, C.J. Stroud, player of the week. When it needed to get done, he did it. He put the team on his back, and they just played great football, and he got the job done.
Yeah, they beat some good schools. So, that's good. Definitely important to go out there and make a statement against Purdue. But, yeah, let's go ahead and move on. I don't think I have one this week. I don't know if you guys have one, but a rant of the week. I'm not really feeling a rant this week personally. Got a lot of things I could probably rant about, but I don't know. I don't think I'm feeling it this week. Does anybody else have one? If not, we will just go ahead and move on to the games.
I don't have one this week.
No, I'm good.
All right. Well, no rant this week. That's what I think we usually rant when Bryson's here. Bryson's always brings the energy to the rant. I wasn't really feeling a rant this week. But let's go ahead and get into Week 12 games for college football, and we'll add one once we get to the bottom. Just remind me. So starting off, I believe is it Michigan State? Who is it?
Michigan State. Actually, I'm sorry. That's games this week.
Yeah,
my bad.
I thought that's why I thought you said next week. Okay.
This is gonna be a good game.
Yeah, Michigan State at Ohio State. Ohio State is favored by 18.5. Preston, I know you're excited to see this one, so we'll go to you first.
This is a tough one. Okay, these are the kind of games that kind of give me a hard time when I'm thinking about them. Ohio State's playing great football. I think they're wanting to put up these dominant performances, and this is a top 7 matchup. 18 and a half points. That's a lot of points, man. It really is. And I think Michigan State's, a close. They're going to play them closer than that. So give me Michigan State plus 18 and a half. I mean, I don't think Ohio State's going to lose this game in any way, but it's a noon game. Michigan State, I think they still got everything in front of them. They need this game. If they lose this game, it's practically over. It is over for their national championship hopes and their Big Ten championship hopes. So give me Michigan State plus 18 and a half.
Michigan State. All right, he's taking Michigan State. Josh, who you going with in this one?
Yeah, man, I think Ohio State wins. I think they win probably by a couple of touchdowns. Michigan State has the opportunity to keep it close. This is a game of matchups, and I think Michigan State matches up pretty well as long as they can keep their offensive linemen healthy during the game and let that running back run on Ohio State. I'm going to take Michigan State with the 18 and a half.
Gotcha. And Ohio State, and I know early in the season, I'm not sure about now, they were struggling with the run. So if they can get a team that's going to run the ball on them.
Come on, Josh. Now, come on. You want to change your pick, man? You gotta let me have a chance to catch up, man. You can't.
No, I'm not changing that pick.
He's playing defensively now.
All right. Well, now you got to go to me first, man.
Yeah, I'm going first. I'm gonna swap off each time. So, all right, here we go. Next game: Iowa State at Oklahoma. Oklahoma's favored by 5.5, coming off a loss to Purdue. Josh, coming back to you. Who you going with in that one?
I'm gonna go with Iowa State plus the 5.5. I think Oklahoma has problems with their quarterback room. I think there's tension in the locker room. I think there's tension between the quarterbacks and the coach. And Iowa State doesn't have a problem with their quarterback. They know who their quarterback is. I think they go in there. I don't know if they're going to come out with the win, but I think it's going to be a really close game, back and forth game. I don't think it's going to be a defensive struggle, kind of like what Oklahoma was in this past Saturday. But yeah, give me Iowa State plus 5.5.
Gotcha. Well, I know you texted us earlier in the week. Well, during Saturday, you said Oklahoma has not found their quarterback. I know Preston went on a rant about them last week about them they have found the quarterback. So we'll see what he's going to do here. Preston, what you going with?
It's the week of the comeback. I'm getting closer to Josh. And I'm going to continue to get closer and closer because I'm going to continue to pick the correct matchups. Oklahoma, mathematically, they're not eliminated from the playoff conversation. Now, the committee might say otherwise, and we might say otherwise. I think they're probably done. But the fact that they're not mathematically done, they're at home, they're going to try and bounce back. 5.5 points. I think Iowa State's a good team, but Oklahoma, they've got to put a fire under somebody because they got to get somebody hot, and they got to get them hot in a hurry if they're going to get ready to play Oklahoma State. So give me Oklahoma plus 5.5 or minus 5.5 because I think Oklahoma is going to come out and play, dedicated football. I think they're going to come out and play great. I think they've lost. I think I've picked them incorrectly now. I think 3 times so far. So, they're dead to me if I lose this week. So they better just, get it right. Let me get another game on Josh.
Well, they do get to be at home this week.
Yeah, they are home, and I think that might help them a little bit.
All right. Next game, Preston, we're coming back to you because this is your team right here. Wake Forest at Clemson. Clemson favored by 3.5 against, and then one loss. Are they still one loss, Wake Forest?
One loss, Wake Forest, yes.
One loss, Wake Forest. Who you going with?
Look, I love them. I'm a diehard Tigers fan. I really am. And I really hope I get this one wrong. But I don't see how you can't go with Wake Forest plus 3.5. I don't see how you can't. Wake Forest is playing better. They've got everything they lock up the ACC Atlantic Division this Saturday with a win over Clemson. Now they have to get it done. Clemson can still technically win the ACC Atlantic if they win out or win this week and then win next week. So everything's still on the table for both of the teams, but they also need NC State to lose. This game's at Clemson. It's a noon game. Clemson's played bad with DJ Uiagalelei. They've played bad with every quarterback they put in there. I just don't see how they win this game. I hope they do. I hope I'm wrong here. I'll offer up this pick, but give me Wake Forest plus 3.5 because I just think they're going to win the game.
Gotcha. We'll see what Josh is going to do. Josh, who you going with? Are you riding with the Tigers or are you going with Wake Forest?
I'm going with the Demon Deacons of Wake Forest.
Is that what they are?
But
okay.
I
We'll see.
want to go ahead and let you know, Preston, that I do a top 25 for my radio show every week. So every Sunday I send in a top 25, and guess who has made an appearance back into the top 25?
Is it
Your
Clemson?
Tigers.
I was looking at the AP poll to see if they were going to jump in. They're getting some. They've got 3 votes.
Well, so. I put them in at number 25. They haven't had an appearance since week 3 for me in the top 25 or week 4. But I think that they're playing better, man. But I just think Wake Forest is. Man, I don't know. It's really hard. It's hard to pick this game because we know how good Clemson can be, and like, have they been sleepwalking this whole time? And now all of a sudden they done woke up because they played good Saturday. Yeah, I'm going Wake Forest and Demon Deacons plus 3.5, and I think I may be wrong on this one, but I let me down again. So I'd rather Wake Forest let me down than Clemson.
Yeah, I mean that's the same thing. I mean, I was thinking about it, and I texted. I think I texted y'all in the group chat. I said, or maybe it was just Chris. I said, I don't understand how they're coming out as favorites in this game. But I mean, and I made the comment. Las Vegas has tall buildings out in the desert for a reason. They get things like this right all the time. I don't see it.
Thing is, it's still Wake Forest against Clemson. You know what I mean? Clemson's still
but that's not. But
I'm just saying that's why
I think they're good.
But that's what I'm saying. That's why they're favored. It's still Clemson's known.
Well, yeah, I think it's got to be because they're at home.
Vegas may think that Wake Forest may be a paper tiger.
Yep.
Oh yeah, I mean they're definitely not elite in any standard at all.
They don't have a lot of depth. So if they're going to win, they're going to need to jump up early and get a 2 or 3 score, not touchdown, but just scores like something like 17.
I can see this.
Hold on.
I can see this being a game where you definitely would want to possibly take the under, because I don't think Clemson's got enough offense to put a lot of points on the board versus anybody's good defense or a reasonably average defense. They've just struggled. They've shot themselves in the foot. So many uncharacteristic, penalties, and then all the injuries they've got. Justin Ross is coming up, limp every other play, it seems like. We've lost a large portion of our receiving core due to injuries. And I think, Clemson's defense might be good enough to, limit what, Wake Forest does on the scoring side. I mean, they might really be the only team that puts up some points on this scoring board. So, I like Wake Forest to win the game. I hope Clemson does, and I hope I picked the game wrong, but I jumped on it when I saw it.
Gotcha. All right, let's get into Josh's neck of the woods here. Next game, Arkansas at Alabama. Bama favored by 20.5. Josh, I know you said there's no way they're going to lose. Well, you didn't say there's no way. You said anything that happened, but you said you don't think they're going to lose. But do you think they're going to win by 20.5? Who are you going with?
Well, I know that Arkansas just played a real physical game against LSU, and they come out victorious. The Battle of the Boot, they got the trophy. Real emotional win for Pittman and the Razorbacks down there, and they went into Baton Rouge and won. I think they're going to have somewhat of a letdown Saturday against Alabama. I just don't have trust in my team right now to blow anybody out, especially a decent SEC opponent. If they were playing Vanderbilt, or Vanderbilt's about the only one this year that's not somewhat decent. Or if they were playing Florida again right now,
what's up with that? Like, Florida competes good. I mean, did everybody get hurt or what? I mean, I don't understand.
Man, they fired their defensive coordinator and a couple other guys down there in Florida.
But they fired their defensive coordinator because,
But I'm going to go with Arkansas plus the points. I think Alabama will probably win by about 14 or 17 points.
Yeah.
I see Alabama, if they do get up by 24 points or so with our depth issue at running back, I can see that backup or that linebacker coming in and playing running back. A lot of backups playing late in the game because we don't want to get any more injuries.
Gotcha. All right. Well, going back to Preston, who you going with in this game, the Alabama game?
I hate that I'm not able to make up ground on them here. I think obviously Alabama. I think this is a good line. Honestly, I really do. I think it's going to be pretty close to it. But Arkansas has shown they can put some points on the board. And I don't think at this point, like Josh said, I mean, they're not playing, Alabama football, which isn't saying much because even when they're playing bad, they're still a top 5 team, which is a testament of the recruitment, the coaches they keep on the staff year round.
Just quick question: what time is this game?
3:30.
Is it just me? I could be wrong on this, Josh. Does it seem like Alabama plays better at like a 3:30 game?
They do play really good at 3:30 games.
And they use a lot of teams. I don't know. I could see this being. I don't think Alabama's that much 20.5 points. Better than probably somewhere around there. Probably better than Arkansas. But
I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if Alabama won by 3 touchdowns.
That's what I'm saying. It's just
surprise me.
The 3:30 game. I feel like they stomp a lot of teams in them midday games. I don't know. That's just me. But go ahead.
That's CBS's pick of the week. They get to pick the first SEC game off the schedule that they want, and they went with Alabama and Arkansas.
Gotcha. Go ahead and finish what you were saying.
Yeah. Before I was so rudely interrupted,
I stopped.
I just don't think Alabama is going to blow out Arkansas to the point where it's 21 plus. Obviously, I think they win this game by probably like 15 to 17-ish. So give me Arkansas plus 20.5. That's just a lot of points. And I think Arkansas can keep it within them.
Gotcha. Let's go to the next game.
Hold on. Let me go back on that. Let me take.
I'm not switching my pick. I'm not doing it 2 weeks in a row.
You want to switch?
Let me take the Tide plus 20.
There we go. Thank you, Josh. Thank you for letting me.
I wasn't gonna let you, but Preston's okay with it. So
I'm not switching my pick. I did it last week.
I'm gonna switch it. I'm gonna switch it just because it is my team, and I'm not gonna be sitting here like, oh man, I hope they score. I hope they score and get it within 20. I hope they score and get it within 20. Or I'm not going to be doing all that. So yeah, let's just go all the way.
I'm telling you,
the high tide will be in Tuscaloosa come Saturday.
I'm telling you that 3:30. I mean, even though they played Florida at 3:30.
Yeah, I was in my mind. I was like, man, he's saying some good things. I might want to.
I really do. I mean, against teams that are not that are kind of good, but not really that good. I feel like Alabama does a lot better at a midday game, personally. But
let's put Arkansas back where they belong. Let's put the Arkansas sausage back where they belong. Them hogs going on the smoker on Saturday.
Gotcha. All right, let's go to the next game. Baylor at Kansas State. Baylor coming off a big win. Baylor minus 1.5. Preston, going to you.
Give me Baylor minus 1. I just don't. I mean, Kansas State, they're a good team. They really are. And they play tough football, at home. But this isn't that mid-2000s, late 90s Kansas team. Give me Baylor minus 1. I don't see how they keep this game close. Isn't that what I said last week?
Yeah. 49er, did they just –
I think they just missed that, which sucks.
They missed a field goal.
Man, that's even worse.
Oh, look at that.
I have the kicker.
Look at that.
That's terrible.
Why would you even do that? I needed the kicker to score points. I'm sorry. I'm even more mad now.
I needed the kicker to score points too. Why wouldn't they kick that field goal?
Yeah, well, I needed that
field goal. I mean, 21-7. I mean, you're going to come back.
I have Kittle and Gay on my fantasy team. I needed to have points this week. And
I'm sorry. We got off the rails. All right, Preston's going with Baylor.
Minus, what was it? 1.5?
1.5.
Give me Baylor minus 1.5. I think
pretty much a pick 'em, man.
Pretty much a pick 'em.
And I'm gonna go with Vegas here, man. I think it is really hard to play in Kansas State. I think the emotions of Baylor upsetting Oklahoma like they did, the fans rushing the field not once but twice to get down there. The big emotion, their head's a little big. I think they're gonna go into Kansas State, and I think they're gonna get beat. I'm going with Kansas State plus the 1.5.
Kansas State plus 1.5.
Thank you, Josh. I appreciate that.
Hey,
Christmas
it's
has
either
come
gonna be
early.
it's gonna be a rough week for one of you guys. We'll see what happens there. Auburn at South Carolina. Auburn favored by 7.5. Josh, coming back to you. Who are you going with?
Well, let's see. South Carolina's starting to play a lot better than when they started.
See that game.
They might be figuring something out up there in South Carolina, them Gamecocks. Auburn's quarterback, Bo Nix, do it all Bo, broke his ankle late in the third quarter and played with a broke ankle like an idiot. Played with a broke ankle all the way till the last 3 minutes of the game. You got to see Auburn's backup quarterback come in and get a sack and stripped. But I think he's going to have a week of preparation with the first team. I think Auburn goes up there and wins and redeems himself from that embarrassing 40 unanswered points scored against their defense. I think their defense steps up and Auburn covers the 7.5.
Auburn covering 7.5. Preston, could you be different here?
I am going to be 100% different because I have been to Williams-Brice multiple times, handful of times, and 9 times out of 10 when I go there, it's a pretty dead atmosphere because they've been bad. Now, this team is hovering right there at 5-5, so they're a 500-win team. Okay, they have a chance to beat a ranked Auburn team at home at 7:00. Williams-Brice. If they don't get punched in the mouth early, I think Williams-Brice is booming. I think those Carolina fans are waving their cry towels because they'll be using them in a couple weeks to wipe their tears. I just don't see South Carolina not winning this game. That's a bold prediction. I don't think they get close within the spread. I think they outright win. I think they obviously take care of the spread and everything. Give me plus 7.5. I think South Carolina wins this game. I think because, I obviously see the quarterback. Auburn's got a better team. They obviously have a better team, and anybody can see that.
All right, so we're going to make Preston. He's going to have to it's going to be a pick 'em for Preston in his record. Josh really – it's not. I'm just kidding. Josh, I thought Josh was going to take Carolina.
I really did.
I thought about it. I thought about it, but then I also think about Auburn's running game and Tank Bigsby and also Auburn's defense. They got really embarrassed, and I think they're going to come out and try to prove a point and try to tune up before they face Alabama in Auburn.
I can see this being a 34-35 kind of game. Or it could also be a low-scoring game. It also could be a blowout game. Obviously, it kind of checks off all the boxes. I really don't know going into this game what we're going to 100% get, but I do think that South Carolina keeps this close and they pull out the dub. I just think at this point right now,
it would not hurt my feelings none if they did. I can.
Gotcha. Well, let's go. We got 2 more games because Josh is going to add a game, but let's go into my final game.
Josh. Oregon
at Utah. Utah is favored in this game, 3.5, which kind of surprised me with Oregon being ranked as high as they are. I'm a little confused by the line. Josh, could you explain that line maybe and tell me who you're going with in this game?
Well, the game is at Utah. I think that's why they're favored by 3.5. Utah's been playing really good. Oregon's been playing really sluggish. I'm going to go with Utah and the upset over Oregon. I like Oregon's coach, obviously. He coached under Nick Saban. He was a good offensive coach for us, Mario Cristobal. He's been out there at Oregon. He's built that program. I just think they're playing real sluggish, like I said, and I think it's going to be hard for them to go into Utah and beat the Utes. I think Utah will get the upset and watch this be the game that I added, be the game that I lose. But yeah, I'm going with Utah minus 3.5.
Gotcha. Honestly, I don't know if they're going to win by 3.5. It's close, but I really think Utah is going to win this game as well. I really do. But watching the late game against, I think they played, Washington State the other night? I think that's who it was. Watching that game. But, all right, Preston. Somebody's going to do really bad, and somebody's going to do really good this week. Preston, who you
Josh,
going?
I just wanted to thank you again because Christmas has come early. You've given me another game. I get the better team, albeit on the road. I get the better team with points. Sign me up 7 days a week because give me Oregon plus 3.5. I just like this game, obviously it's going to be a tough game. I think it's going to be an Oregon game. I think, the Ducks are going to get it done. And they don't even have to win the game. Oregon doesn't have to win for me to win. They just got to keep it within 3.5. Give me that every day of the week, guys. Thank you, Josh. I appreciate it.
Quacking. The quack attack.
Gotcha. Well, Josh, you had one more game you wanted to add here?
No, that was it. That
game was already on there.
Okay. No, I thought it was, and then I didn't write it down. I don't know what the hell I was thinking.
Oh, you're good. Yeah, no.
Who's Oklahoma playing?
Oklahoma, we have that game on there. They're playing Iowa State.
Oh, yeah, that's right. All right.
Is there any other games, you guys want to talk about that's not going to be on our pick and pool? I mean, Georgia,
we don't want to talk about Charleston Southern and Georgia.
Southern, yeah. Georgia plays Charleston.
What about SMU Cincinnati?
I did not think about adding that game. That could be one we could add. If y'all want to add it,
let's add it. Let's add it. Hell,
let's add it. I want to see that game. Hey, that's the one I picked Cincinnati to lose. Hey, so I gotta have.
Put your money where your mouth is.
Cincinnati's losing.
What time do they play?
3:30. SMU at number 5. Cincinnati.
12.5 favorite.
12.5. Woo, 12.5.
Preston, we're going to you.
I don't want to go first.
Josh went first. Josh has been going first.
This sucks.
You're going first.
Oh, man. I think he's set up really good for this because he can obviously just go against whatever I say.
I'm going to write it in here.
This is tough. Give me a second. I got to think.
You've been going against everything he says the last few times.
I know, but not in this one. This is my team.
All right, so real quick. SMU's coming off a big time win against UCF 55-28, but before that they lost to Memphis and they lost to Houston.
Yeah, so looking at this, Cincinnati's at home. They've only got 2 more opportunities after this to, make it in the playoff. No, they only got 1 more week after this to make it into the playoffs. 12.5. That's a lot of points. I think they're way better than SMU at this point. Give me Cincinnati minus 12.5. I think they got to get something.
Josh,
they have to be.
Josh,
they have to blow them out.
Please don't tell me you're taking Cincinnati minus 12.
No, man, I'm taking Mustangs, man. Cincinnati has got this pressure built on them, and they got a lot of pressure on them as if they're the number 1 team in the country, because to their fans they are. They really got a lot of pressure to try to put on some style points to try to get into that top 4. And it's been showing every week. They start off sluggish. They make mistakes. I think SMU's got nothing to lose and everything to gain by canceling out Cincinnati's hopes. And 12.5 points is a lot. I don't know if SMU will win, but if they lose, it won't be by that much. So let's go with the Mustangs.
That's the lock of the week right there. We hadn't been doing the lock of the week, but lock of the week for me coming out of my mouth is SMU plus 12.5. There's absolutely no way Cincinnati wins this game by more than 12.5. I'll say it now. They might not win. Well, even though I said they're going to lose, but I don't think there's no way. All right, well, let's get into the final segments here. Let's go to the top 4 first. I added the Heisman picks. I don't know if you guys got a Heisman, but we'll go to the top 4 first. Preston, do you have a top 4?
I do have a top 4, and it's changing a little bit from week to week. There should be no surprise who's got atop my top 4. I think Georgia has proven they are the best team in the nation. They are at number 1, and I don't think that's changing anytime soon. Number 2, Ohio State. I think they're playing, great football at the right time. I think we were talking about it earlier. I think Bama.
Can I call a timeout real quick? Josh, I'm sorry. This is on the show. You are going to be surprised. You just go ahead. Go ahead and finish it off.
I think they're playing the right football at the right time for Ohio State. I think Bama's kind of sluggish, but then again, at number 3, I've got Bama. I think Bama is playing, they're playing good football. Obviously, like I said earlier, it's not Bama football, but it's good enough for them to still be in the top 5. And at number 4, I have Oregon. I think Oregon's playing good football right now.
He doesn't have Cincinnati.
I just think, Oregon's playing good. They have that.
How does that – well, hold on. But hold on. I just want to know, how does Cincinnati get out of your top 4 now?
Well, Cincinnati wasn't in my top 4 last week either.
Yeah, they were.
No, they weren't.
Weren't they in their top 4 last week, Josh?
No.
I don't think so. He had him at.
Oh, I could have been wrong. They were in the first week. I thought they were your top 4. Could have been wrong. No, that was the week before. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Well, I don't know where it's at.
I thought you had him at number 3.
It's on the blue sticky note.
I could be wrong. Yeah. See.
They were at number 4.
See, so I mean, you can change it if you want.
No.
I'm just letting you know.
I
just didn't understand how you took them out.
I think that's who they play. That's how they're playing right now.
He's bumped his head, ladies and gentlemen.
I still think Cincinnati is deserving of a top 4 position at the end of the season. But as of now, what I've seen in the last 10 weeks, they're just right there ahead of them. But Cincinnati is at 4.1. So that's my top 4. Georgia, Ohio State, Bama, Oregon.
He has woke up. Preston has woke up. All right, go ahead. Josh, who's your top 4?
All right, we're going to go with give me.
Is he thinking who's number 1 right now?
No, I'm thinking who number 4 is. Number one is Georgia. I'm going to keep my tide at number 2. I'm going to wait to drop Oregon down after they lose. I'm going to put Oregon at 3, Ohio State at 4.
Pretty similar. I kind of expected it. I didn't, like I said, I expected Cincinnati to get the number 4 spot for Preston, but who knows? Last little thing here before we end it. I know we went a little bit long because we talked a little bit at the beginning. It's late in the season. I don't know if you guys have looked at it. I know it's kind of a late thing I added, but did you guys have any idea, who would be some top candidates for Heisman right now? I know we can talk about that. And I thought about getting late into the season. I thought about adding, you guys putting in your top 3 candidates for Heisman, but, that'd be a lot. But, do you guys have any thoughts on the Heisman race?
I don't really have a lot because this has been a tough season where I don't think one player has clearly defined that it's his award to win. Like, obviously, in 2019, you had Joe Burrow. Last year, Devontae Adams. Devontae Smith. Who's Devontae Adams? Not the Green Bay Packers receiver. I just think that this year's been kind of tough because I just don't really think anybody's really, stake their claim for this award. If I was a betting man, which I am, I like possibly C.J. Stroud to be in the top conversation, a part of the conversation for the top 3 positions for vote getters. But I think it's a QB award, and I think, you will see. But he'd be in the top 3. I'm not saying he's winning it right now.
Gotcha. Any thoughts, Josh?
Yeah, there hasn't been anybody give us that Heisman moment. There's been somewhat of a Heisman performance by Kenneth Walker, the 3rd Michigan State's running back, when he had that big game. I mean, to me, and I'm just going to go with Vegas, and I'm not going to be a homer. Bryce Young's numbers are off the chart right now.
Yeah.
Really a lot of yards and touchdowns, and his completion percentage and his quarterback ratings off the charts as well. Also, Kenny Pickett from Pitt, he's got some big numbers. And there'll be some Heisman moment opportunities for these guys coming up. And C.J. Stroud's one of them. He's going to have some opportunities coming up. And then I want to do this, and y'all are going to think I'm crazy. But slowly and surely, usually, the quarterback on the best team in America gets a lot of recognition. And Stetson Bennett is slowly but surely performing really well right now.
He has surprised me. I will say
he's
that
playing good, but I don't think he's in.
I don't think he should be in the Heisman conversation. But
because
he's really surprised me from watching.
The reason I don't think he should be in the Heisman conversation is that Georgia offense has proved it doesn't really matter if it's him or the other guy for them to be successful.
Yeah.
And I think while he's played good, I don't think they need him. I wouldn't say he's the reason they're playing so great and they're undefeated. I just think he's just there. I hate to say that a player is a game manager, but he's a really good game manager. I mean, really just I don't think they need him to win.
Yeah, he's really surprised me. I mean, I've watched, he's thrown some really good balls in some tight spots these last couple weeks. And, I'm hoping Georgia sticks with them and don't, change nothing. I don't think they will now, but you never know.
I've heard a lot of Georgia fans say that they'd rather not have Stetson
I
Bennett.
mean, I like Daniels. Before the last couple of weeks. I always liked Daniels as pocket quarterback, just watching him, just the eye test. I like Daniels. He just looks more like a
but I think Stetson Bennett does give Georgia a better chance.
Yeah.
Because he does open it up their offense just
I don't think – I'm with Josh. What Josh said last week. I don't think you should since Bennett's been running the offense these last –
yeah, there's no need to
change it up now.
Does Bennett have another year of eligibility at the end of the year? I think he's got one because of COVID. But
he does. He does.
If he is successful and they win the national championship game, does he return? And if he does Daniels leave?
I would think Daniels would leave.
Where's he going to go?
I don't know.
Can we think about that for just a second and where hypothetically he would go? I would love to see him go to Clemson. I think he might put something under defense.
Hey, real quick on the defensive, and I know I'm being a homer here, but he's also
Josh. He's
getting national
How you gonna have an Alabama player on defense?
How about 12 sacks on the season, 24 tackles for loss.
Okay.
35 solo tackles and 24 tackles for loss. So he's ahead of where Chase Young was. He's ahead of a lot of all-time greats on defense. Jadeveon Clowney. And he's just a sophomore, and he's from right down the street from where I live.
Say his name. What's his name?
Will Anderson Jr.
Oh, you did. You've mentioned him about a few weeks. Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to seeing a defensive player.
I could see a defensive player getting it. I just, I don't know.
This would be
Alabama's.
the year. This
would be the year, but he's going to have to make some big time performances on national TV, like in the Iron Bowl.
Honestly,
sack, scoop, and score, and pick six.
Since the offense hasn't stand out, I don't think a quarterback should get it this year, unless it was Bryce Young, like you said. I don't think a quarterback.
We're also overlooking it. I think Matt Corral, or however you say his name, for Ole Miss. He's not in the Heisman race, but I mean,
he was at one
point. He was, but he's had some bad performance. I mean, what about that guy from Mississippi State, Will Rogers? Go look at his numbers.
Yeah. What about
Wake Forest's quarterback?
I could have missed it. I could have overlooked it from watching him from a couple games. But what about that Oregon running back? Is he in the conversation at all or no?
The Oregon linebacker was at the beginning of the year. That
I know I was thinking of. I know that Verdell. I saw him a few games, and he had.
Yeah, Verdell. He's pretty good.
Yeah, I didn't know if he was in the conversation.
It's just they play so late out there, man. They play them 10:30 kickoffs.
I want to say he might get hurt too.
Look, they play a lot of the West Coast. Unless you got somebody that's like really standing out, it's hard because a lot of the Heisman voters live on the East Coast.
He's right there. He passed him. Yeah. No, he was looking up Verdell. But yeah.
He's only got 78 attempts.
There's maybe it was bad. Maybe somebody was hurt or something. I watched him in a couple games. He just looked good to me. So I didn't know if he was in the conversation with Oregon being at the top.
So
Oregon's always had those little fast, tiny running backs.
Here's Bryce Young's numbers: 3,025 passing yards and 33 touchdowns.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people up for grabs this year. But yeah, we went pretty long today, so I think we're going to go ahead and end it. Yeah, we'll see who's going to come out on top between y'all's picks. I know Bryson's going to send me his picks too, so we'll see if Bryson can.
He needs to send them in the group text, so I didn't get all mixed up. Now we need his picks in the group text.
I'm gonna tell him.
Yeah, because I had to go back and watch the video for his picks.
Yeah, he never does that. Yeah, well, I had him. I wrote him down for him last week, so I wrote him down. I'm writing his down because he's hard headed. But anyway, appreciate everybody watching. Peace.